to overview the contacts and managing contacts and prospects in the Soul Winning app. And so before we dive in, the very first thing you have to wrap your mind around before you get into the Soul Winning app is the mobile app, which I have up over on my left here, and the dashboard, which I have over on my right here. They are two very different in their practical application, meaning how you're going to use them. They're very different. And so all your members are going to have access to the mobile app, and you'll have access to it for everything that you would imagine that you would want to do on the go when it comes to managing and accessing contacts. And then the dashboard side of things, the admin side of things I have over here on the right, is going to be basically access to everything, and you're going to be able to manage things a little bit differently and have a different perspective there. And so that's the first thing you have to understand with the Soul Winning app. And that really honestly goes with every feature, but I wanted to just emphasize it before we go into depth here. And so I'm going to go into the very first way to save a contact. And the reason I'm going to go here is because this is probably going to be the most common way that your church is going to save contacts in the Soul Winning app. And this is the easiest way for you to get leads and get contacts while you're out door to door. Now, this is going to be a door to door functionality. If maybe you're using the Soul Winning app and not doing door to door, that's okay. Bear with me here for a moment or just skip past this. But so I'm going to go to this outreach tab on my phone here, and I'm going to see all of the zones, the outreach zones that the church has made available. On this account, I just have a simple one zone and a couple maps here. And if I zoom in, I can click on one of these maps, see that nobody's checked into it before, and I'm going to go ahead and check into this map. And so if you don't understand what I'm doing here, feel free to go over to our video where we overview the mapping and how to check in and manage all of that in a different video. I'm going to try to just stick to contacts here. So I'm checked into a map. I'm door knocking on this map. And you'll see my blue dot. If I were standing in front of this house right here, you would see my blue dot standing in front of that house. I just met this guy. This guy's a real great guy. He said, I really want to come to church. I just moved into town and I've been looking for a church. And so you're going to save this contact right here. So you're just going to click on that house with your finger because you're standing right in front of it. It'd be real obvious. And then you're going to save them as a contact. Just double check. The reason this pops up is just to double check that the house number was right. And then you'll just hit the confirm and you'll save his name. His name was Bobby. And I won't save any other information for now. I'll just kind of leave it at that and we'll save him. Bobby is saved. And now if I go over here to my dashboard and I reload this list, you're going to notice Bobby shows up there too. And so the admin side of things has access to all of the contacts that are saved. All of these contacts can be managed and organized into individual lists, but right now we're just in the all contact list. And so now if I were to check out personally here, if I go back over to my mobile phone, I'll finish this up here. If I were to check out and go over to my contacts in the app here, you'll notice that's over on the little contacts tab on the bottom there. I'll click on that. I can see Bobby. I just saved Bobby. I can see his information. I can click on him. I can see the rest of his information, where his address is. I can get navigation to his address. I can record another visit, which would basically just add a note to this contact. I'd say went back by and he wasn't home. And it's going to save the date and everything with this. And so if I reload over here on the dashboard side of things and I click on Bobby here, I'm going to see the date and the time that I visited him, and he was not home. And so, and who visited him, of course. And so that's kind of the basics of that. If I click on this little pencil icon up here, of course, I can edit all of his information and change some stuff. If I want to see all of the note history, I can click on this little notepad there and I can see all of the notes. If there were multiple notes by multiple different people, I would be able to see them all listed out here. And so that's kind of the basics of the contact card and the information that's there. If personally I saved this contact and I thought, wow, this would be a really good person for Pastor so-and-so to follow up on, I can click the share button. And if there were other people in the church, I would see them here and I could just click to share them with that other person. So there's nobody else in this church, so I can't really show that to you. And the same would happen here. If I click the share button over on the admin side of things, this little 3-dot thing, I would see all of the people besides myself that are in this church, and I would be able to click the little share button and share it with them also. And so that's how that works. Now, I'm going to go ahead and save one more contact on my phone here. This time I'm going to show you something different. This one's going to be named Helen. And I'm going to go ahead and save this one with a hashtag, and then we'll put VBS, and we'll save that. Yep. I'm going to have to put an address here. I'll go ahead and just save that address. All right. And we'll save that contact. And so now if I reload the list here, I'm going to see Bobby and Helen. And Helen, I put VBS in the notes. And so you'll notice here, if I search what I just put in the notes with the hashtag VBS, it will come up with all of the contacts that have that tag in it. And so you can tag notes, and this is going to help you be able to organize them. And how are you going to organize them? Well, you're going to make folders, and that's this little folder button over here on the dashboard side of things. If I click to create a folder here, I'm going to go ahead and make a VBS folder. Look at that. We got a VBS folder. I'm going to also make a bus route number 1 folder, and I'm going to make a member folder. And so you can see here, you really can make whatever folders you want, and you can put whatever types of lists in here you want. These don't just need to be door-to-door prospects. These can be your roster, they can be your list of members, they can be really whatever you want them to be, and you can put them in the folders and manage them that way and have access to them on the phone. I'll show you that here in a minute. But since we searched Helen here, I'm going to go ahead and select Helen, and I'm going to put Helen in the VBS folder. And now when I'm in the all list, I can see Helen and Bobby, but of course if I go to the VBS folder here, I can see only Helen. The other ones here, I can't see nothing. Bus route 1 or members, because there ain't nothing in there. Let's put Bobby in a member, because he came to church and he decided to be a member. And so we're going to put Bobby in members. So now if I go up to my dashboard here and I click on my team, I'm going to change me from a member to an admin. And what that's going to allow me to be able to do here is, now when you notice here, I only have 3 options in the contact list on my phone. And if I just switch away and come back here, let's go in and out of the contact list. Now I have the option for the admin prospect, because I made myself an admin. And so if I click on that, I can see the same thing that I just made here on the contacts list on the dashboard with the folders. I can see the all prospects, the VBS folder, the bus route number 1 folder, and the member folder. And I can see the people that are inside those folders. And so if I click on them, I have access to them on my phone. And so this is an easy way. If, maybe you added this person, somebody else added this person, and you want to be able to get access to a certain group of contacts, and they're not in your personal list, which isn't the case with me. All of those are in my personal list, but this will give you the ability to get access to something that you don't have in your personal list. And so that's how that works. I'm going to also show you here, if I click on this map or list toggle on the dashboard side of things, it's going to switch over to a map view. So previously I was looking at a list view that showed me the contact card with their contact information and all the details of that contact. Now I'm looking at a list view that shows me a map view and the pin of their location. And so it has less details when it comes to the contact, but it shows you where they are at on the map. And so if I click on them, it's going to select them over here, and I can share this with somebody. I can do something from this place. And so it's just a different way to view things, a different way to manage things. And so that's kind of the basics of the contacts and how to wrap your mind around that. There is, of course, more you can do with it. If I click on this add contact on the dashboard, I can add a contact from here, and you can do that if you'd like. There's a few other ways you can do things. I'll show you this Over here on the list of my folders on the dashboard side of things, if you look here, I have an option to edit this member folder, and I can turn the visibility on the app on or off. I can also click on this little QR code icon, and this gives me a QR code that I can put on a visitor contact card or a tract or anything that you would want to do. And I'll show you what, well, I don't know if I can show you that in this video, but what this QR code does is it brings up a form where if somebody were to scan it, they're basically filling out the form here. So if I click on add a contact, they're basically filling out the form themselves and putting themselves into the Soul Winning app. And so you can use this for multiple different things. For instance, if we had a VBS folder and I also wanted to put a VBS registration, then I can make a QR code just for that. And anybody that scans this and fills out this form, they're being put right in this VBS registration folder. And so it's a way that you can really drop contacts that are adding themselves right into a spot. And so you can also use this for like a secretary or somebody that's doing the registration or helping people. They can just be scanning a QR code, and that all those contacts that they're saving are going into that list. And so that's kind of how that works. And I don't really have a way to show you that on the screen recording, but that's kind of the basics of things. Of course, there's a few other options here on the app side of things. I can also view them on a map. I can view my contacts on a map here. And I could also do the same if I go to the admin prospects. I can do the same here. If I click this little compass icon, I can view all these contacts on a map the same. And so if I go back, there's one other thing. The appointments button here is just if the admin shares a contact with me, all those contacts are going to show up in the appointments, and they'll show up here, and I can click on them and go visit them and get navigation to them. So I think I can actually even share the same contact I already have. If I click the share, I got a notification and click this, go into appointments, and you can see Bobby here that I just shared with myself is now in my appointments. View them, just shows up the contact card, and I get navigation, record visit. And then once I do that, actually, I'll go ahead and do that. When I record a visit, in theory, Bobby goes away. And so let me see if I go back in there. So once I record a visit, Bobby disappears out of my appointments, and then he shows up here. If he wasn't already here, he would show up in my list. And so the last thing here is the routes. And so I'm not really going to go into the routing in this video. I challenge you to watch this other video. I'll try to put it in a pop-up so that you can get to it, or you can search it on our YouTube. But the routes are something that's different, but you can use them for making visits. And so I'll show you over on the dashboard side of things with routing. If I make a route name, we'll make this bus 1, and then I have the start location be the church. Make it, all right. And then we have a stop. What's going to be Bobby? It's just contact based. So I just add the contact, and then I add another stop. This one's going to be Helen, and then I add the finished location. And so this brings up routing. And so I really don't want to go into detail on this one. I want to just leave that off for a different video. But it is here, and you can use it for making visits, and then you can organize them into folders, and you can give people that are making big visits access to these routes like this, and say, hey, instead of go visit this one prospect, go visit these 8 prospects today if it's like a staff member. Or you can use these for bus routes, whatever's fitting for you. But that's going to be in a different video. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll try to help you whatever we can. And if you need any help with something, or if you run into a bug, just please let us know. We want to know about it all. We're constantly changing things. We're improving things. And we appreciate the feedback. Have a good day.